I feel like everyone's done talking about Barbie, but I am 2 months late to everything, so I'm just getting started. I just want to talk to you about the reaction that I had in the theater and why it makes me feel like I'm broken. I need to be recalibrated. Send me back to the human factory. Give me a new brain. I went to go see the Barbie movie with my mom, and she's a great person to watch movies with. The movie starts and she immediately goes, "Look at that! They made the WB pink! That's so cute! Ha 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 ha! That's so cute!" But I, on the other hand, went in with my defenses raised. I'm critically online. I am fundamentally online. My brain is plugged into the culture war in a way that my partner reminds me is, thankfully, not all that normal. So a movie with a woman on the poster named after a toy for girls already gets me a little bit nervous about the online discourse I'll be subjected to for the next few weeks of my life. Especially if I suspect that the movie is gonna do, like, Snaps feminism, Target t-shirt feminism, girl boss feminism. It's hard to explain. It feels like the movie is trying to say what I want to hear, but doing it weirdly. Like it just shows up and does a little dance and goes, "The wage gap." Am I right, ladies? And like, no, what are you talking about? But really, that's not what had me all tensed up in the theater. It's that every time the movie would do a feminism, I'd feel myself go, like, Ken discovers patriarchy. Barbie gets catcalled. Oh, America Ferrera's speech about what it means to be a woman in modern American society. Because what's going on in my brain is, oh God, Ben Shapiro is gonna be so annoying about this. And this started at minute 1. I was watching those children smashing all those baby dolls and going, oh, does this send a message about the forced birth versus pro-choice debates? My brain is broken, you guys. But yes, some conservative pundits did interpret it that way. Look, it is not my fault that I'm right about these people. I listened to America Ferrera say that women have to answer for men's bad behavior, which is insane. But if you point that out, you're accused of complaining. And oh boy. And I think, oh no, okay, this movie doesn't literally explain all of feminism. This isn't bulletproof. It doesn't provide 12 sources and 6 studies. It can't back up these claims. What will the misogynists think? And sure enough, one of the first things I see when I get online is Piers Morgan saying that if he made a Barbie movie and flipped the genders, no one would stand for it. And yeah, he's probably right. But boy, it is just too complicated to explain to him why the world is the way it is. That big speech made me feel like the most cynical person in the world. Because I know it was written to get snaps, and it totally did. A lot of people really loved that speech and felt that it was powerful, but hang on, I'm sorry, I need to complain just a little bit more about snaps feminism. There's a kind of loud, clumsy feminism that shows up in big budget films and Netflix original series where the story wants to have a big feminist climactic moment, but it didn't feel like the story earned it. It just felt like the story was riding off the anger of the women in the audience, filling in the gaps for it. You know, Hidden Figures is not this. It's about how hard these women have it being women of color in an organization like NASA in the 60s. And so when the movie wants to overtly remark upon that,
I don't own pearls. Lord knows you don't pay colors enough to afford pearls.
It doesn't feel strange. Mulan, too. Mulan is about what women are and are not allowed to be. So when the movie loudly defends Mulan as a hero, specifically against accusations that she violated her place as a woman in a patriarchal institution,
she's a hero.
She's a woman. She'll never be worth anything.
Listen.
It feels earned. That specific issue is set up for that character. It is paid off with regards to that character. But when America Ferrera's character, and you can disagree with me here, that is okay. I will not be upset. When America Ferrera has her speech about the myriad contradictions of modern womanhood, it didn't feel real to me in the world of the story. It didn't feel earned, not by the film and not by her character. We'd seen her struggling to connect with her teenage daughter, but we hadn't necessarily seen her struggling to move up in the corporate world, being looked down on by her coworkers, having to answer for her husband's bad behavior, having to manage conflicting beauty standards. We can infer some of those things because, again, we're filling in the gaps from our own experience. She gets this snap-worthy speech based on what the audience of women is likely to assume she might have experienced off-screen. And I know all movies involve some amount of the audience filling in the gaps with their own real-world experiences, but it doesn't feel like this movie earned this speech, and I think that's why it feels pandering to me. Just saying what I want to hear without showing that the movie understands why I care about this. Like, they still go back to a Mattel where the boardroom is overwhelmingly male, but we got a nice speech out of it? You see what I mean? I don't know. I do expect a lot from movies. That's part of what being a writer is. And you should not watch movies like me if you want to enjoy things more. I do think this could have been a more well-connected speech if Barbie had delivered it. She is the one we really see starting to understand just how complicated the problems are that women face in the real world. And seeing her explain this to her fellow Barbies kind of ties it all together, doesn't it? Could have been an interesting signifier of her character growth, because previously she thought that the Barbies had fixed the real world. We could have had a tee-up conversation between Barbie and America's character. I don't remember her name, sorry. And then at the climax, Barbie could demonstrate her understanding and line up for the swing. But this might be a change that only I care about, because honestly, the movie is fine at the end of the day. The real reason I was worried about the need for audience members to fill in the gaps in that character's experience is that I knew the misogynists wouldn't do that. Like, they weren't going to play ball. Many of them don't have those experiences to fill in themselves, and they don't believe that the women who say they do have those experiences actually do. I am examining Barbie using a harsher set of standards. I know that I'm not really examining the speech for how well it integrates into the movie. I'm examining it for how much Steven Crowder is going to yell at all of us about it for the next, They were going to hate this movie because it was a movie about women, talking about women things, and not just saying that everything is fine and sexism is fixed forever. And so it's ironic because that speech about how women need to stand out and always be grateful, but never forget the system is rigged, never be rude, never show off, never fall down, never fail, never show fear, never get out of line. I'm so tired of watching myself and every single other woman tie herself into knots so that people will like us. That's pretty fucking pertinent, isn't it? To my viewing experience, that Feminism 101 speech about the myriad ways that women must self-police and the high standards that they're held to, that describes exactly the relationship I have with movies like the Barbie movie. It does have to balance 600 different priorities. I do hold it to a higher standard than other films. It has to explain itself while not being too patronizing. I need it to do all these things because my brain has been terraformed by the misogynists whose opinions I take extremely seriously for some reason. And so if a movie is going to dare to approach feminism, I say, okay, but you better bring the A game. Don't ruin this for us. I don't feel a random plot hole as deeply as I feel what I perceive to be a misstep in communicating about feminism. Because at the end of the day, I'm scared of misogynists. I'm scared of what they think. I'm scared of what they say. I'm scared of them continuing to claw out their angry little foothold in society. And so I look at movies like Barbie that don't do feminism literally goddamn perfectly, and that irrational, wounded part of my brain goes, this is your fault. Why couldn't you be better? Why couldn't you explain yourself better? Be better art, be smarter, be funnier, be less problematic, be meek, but be persuasive, be non-confrontational, bring your sources, and be perfectly accurate. Then they wouldn't hate us. And that's wrong. I personally don't want to know what Barbie has to say about feminism, or about Barbie, for that matter. But the movie did teach me something about how I can't cater to my fear of misogynists who I will never please. And maybe I shouldn't ask others to do that either. Just because I can't stop myself, here's another little retcon, which I'm only sharing because it kind of sets up my next point. I think there was another opportunity for the movie to follow up on an established through line.